Coming up in this Mdina travel vlog today, we've got some really fun shenanigans to show you all that we got up to. But first, a few quick facts about the more historic side of the city before later the vlog takes a little turn into some fun shenanigans. This city behind me is known as the Silent City, with over 4,000 years history. It is not only famous for being one of the filming locations for Game of Thrones, such as The King's Landing, but it has also been used in many films. To name but a few: Gladiator, Napoleon, Papillon, Jurassic World, Troy, Alexander, Murder on the Orient Express, Assassin's Creed, World War Z, Conan, Captain Phillips, Sinbad, The Count of Monte Cristo, and The Clash of the Titans, to name but a few. So today we're going to go around and explore the Baroque and medieval architecture. We're going to walk around the bastions, looking at the Phoenician, Roman and Arabic architecture, and see what the old city has to offer. Now, the city, if you haven't guessed the name yet, it has a lot in common with also the African Medinas. There's a clue. It is nicknamed the Silent City because it has no car access. The Knights of St. John moved the ancient capital from here to Valletta in the 1500s, 1530 to be exact. Let's go explore. And this particular gate behind me from season 1, episode 3, I'm sure you will remember the famous scene I'm talking about. Let's go explore. As we get underway, crossing the bridge, do any of you recognise this famous gate from the Game of Thrones scene that I spoke about? If not, just down under the bridge, there's another scene where they're actually riding horses down the moat area, also in the Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones trivia aside, although lots of Game of Thrones scenes were filmed throughout Malta, let's get exploring in the streets and see what shenanigans we get up to today in this old city of Mdina. Also, I did want to point out that Mdina felt a tiny bit busier than the rest of Malta because, as I mentioned in another travel vlog, Malta is actually quite underpopulated, especially when it comes to tourists, but Mdina is a highly visited area in an area that is under half a mile square, so it's kind of densely quite busy, as you're about to see today, but still kind of manages to be peaceful, which is a little bit ambiguous. Endless quiet streets, you can see why it is called the Silent City. We have seen lots of people filming content for sort of Instagram and things today. People in, let's just call it S&M type gear. Very interesting. Maybe it's all to do with the Knights Templar of St. John influence. To say Mdina is actually quite small. There are so many paths around the city that isn't just the outer wall. As you're sort of walking around Mdina, or through it I should say, there are so many of these thin paths that sort of cross paths in a big sort of grid system, so you can spend quite a few hours just walking around and then down and up every one, checking that you've been down every path and not missed anything like that, which is exactly what we did. We kind of went around the outer wall first and then crisscrossed down each path, and there were also these horses going round as well in the carriages, and I have to say, as I will show you later in this vlog, The horses are very well cared for on Malta, and they actually have a huge stand under shelter and a water station just at the side of the city walls, so they're very, very, very well cared for. It is so warm today. We're actually walking around Mdina with factor 50 on, but we are a little bit worried that we may be burning as it is incredibly hot. Just as we thought the path around the outside was going on forever, we've come out onto this huge, beautiful square with the main cathedral, which everyone appears to be stopping and taking photographs in front of, and this absolutely great building with all these carvings on. There seem to be a lot of carvings to do with Poseidon around Malta, and there are a lot of Japanese tourists getting their pictures in as well. I think they may be one of the only people in the world that actually likes to photograph things more than the English, if that's possible. And this lovely Japanese man is asking Johnny to take his picture, which he was very happy about. Right, let's get underway again. What, with the Maltese cross?
Yeah, man. I don't know how much it was, €60.
It's not bad, if it's real silver.
I'm not looking at it.
Okay, I'll stay out here. There is literally just row after row of old lanes like this, tiny narrow streets that really shows you the African influence. North African streets called Medinas. Now Johnny's done ring shopping, we'll head up here to what looks like the outer bastion wall and another little square. As you can see, there's lots of Game of Thrones merch on offer. Also, I had a little look in the shop myself off camera, and we were just looking for what the local stone here is in Malta, which is something I always like to do. And the local stone that is unique to Malta is called the honey calcite, because it's a kind of corally peachy colour and it is unique to Malta. Malta actually got its name from mele, which means honey, as it has a very unique flavoured honey which kind of tastes a bit like vanilla. If you can imagine a kind of vanilla syrup, it's absolutely delicious. This is the little bit of the bastion that we're on right now. You can see how thick the walls are. We were considering getting an ice cream like everybody else and sitting here, but then we decided that we might want something a little bit more savoury. So we're gonna press on and look for somewhere to have lunch. Enjoying the view?
There's a road. There's a field. There's a tower.
Nice. Nice input there.
Yeah, and some trees. There's another tree. Tell you what I haven't seen. Patches.
Patches? What do you mean?
I think I saw one patches. So if I could get one from inside of here,
Oh yeah.
it'd be a good one, because the one I got from Iceland
Yeah.
was actually from when we went to, what are they called?
What, do you want to go to the rooftop?
You
You want to go to the rooftop one, do you? We are looking for somewhere to refresh ourselves.
Beer and coffee.
Beer and coffee?
Yeah, we're done.
You're going in there?
We're off.
Lead the way then. Let's Stop messing with the knight. Stop messing with him. Got to touch everything, haven't you? You said I was the toucher. We've ordered the Malta pincer, which is a bit like focaccia bread. Johnny likes the look of the Maltese sausage on his half, but not the fact that the artichoke is spread all over it. Lovely. It looks nice. This is where we were just eating lunch on the top of the bastion wall in the knight's kitchen. I'm sure you saw the lovely fireplace on the way in, which was original from the 1500s. But we've decided to go back to the Greek Gate a little bit later on before we leave. So now we're sort of passing into the slightly more modern outskirts of Mdina, but it's still a really beautiful place to explore. And Johnny was adamant he wanted to find a patch. So now we've actually been to the old city of Mdina. We're going to go around the slightly more modern part of Mdina, where there are obviously cars. It's not really that modern, but it's just a bit more modern than the old city. And Johnny's just waiting for me over there. Johnny is currently looking for a patch, because wherever we go, he likes to get a little patch to stick to his bag that I'm currently holding for him. Did you have any luck looking for a patch? We will bleep whatever he said out. But yeah, we're looking for a patch, because that's something he likes to do wherever we go. And these balconies are famous Maltese balconies. You see them all around Malta, and they're actually called Galleria. And they've actually got quite a lot in Mdina, but apparently there are even more in Valletta.
The square bay windows.
Square bay windows, yeah. Yeah, and apparently they're Arabic influenced. So guys, I thought I'd let you all in on the fact that Johnny is a Gemini, so you do get a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde mood with him. I've got used to them. So sometimes he's grumpy, or rather sometimes I think he's just pretending to be grumpy, and sometimes he is a ball of energy, as no doubt you've seen in a lot of our travel videos. So most of the time he's just pretending to be grumpy. So I thought we'd better take him for a beer, because we had been walking around for quite a long time in between having lunch. So it's time to have a little pit stop. When we were back inside the Mdina city walls, we found this really cute little square, so we decided to make our way back across the bridge and what looks like Millionaires' Row within the outskirts of Mdina, and into the city walls again to this little square where we could try a few little drinks. For more specifics on what we had, why not check out our Maltese food and drink tour, but I'll show you some of the highlights here before we get on with the rest of the day. And that you just saw was the horse shelter that I told you about earlier in the vlog, where it's shaded and climate controlled and there for the horses to rest and water, so that they are not overworked. They're really well looked after. And here is the outer view of where the moat of the Mdina wall is, which again I mentioned earlier in the vlog that was one of the other famous Game of Thrones filming locations. But now let's head back to the square. Got the local Kinney soft drink, and then the local version of an Aperol spritz, which is actually a prickly hair spritz called something like Biatra, but we don't know how to pronounce that.
Tastes like roller cola.
Roller cola! Can you taste the spices though? Like a cinnamon. I think it tastes really strong of like cinnamon or nutmeg. Do you like it? I think it's nice. It tastes like pear. Do you not?
Stick to beer.
Right. Johnny's in better spirits. Now he's got a local Sisk beer inside him. So now we're going to make our way back out of the gate we came in earlier and down towards the Greek gate. This is the old entrance under the outer wall, and this is called the Greeks gate that we are about to enter into now. But you can see that this area is where all the gardens are and the outer wall into the old city of Mdina. We've sort of done a little bit of the old city, well, all the old city, and then we did the more modern side of the city through there. But now, since we've been in the other gate, I thought we should also go into Greek's Gate, which is also a famous entranceway into the city. When you come in through the Greek's Gate, basically all these old streets all have intersections where they cross over each other. So it truly is like a labyrinth and maze with all these little streets and archways and different gates everywhere you go. Johnny has just gone still hunting for his patch. So I said I'd come off on my own for a little bit and do a little bit more exploring. Oh, he's here! He's here, he's following me. Did you decide not to bother?
What?
I thought I would reverse a second here, signifying that we then left back via the Greek gate. Johnny having found his patch, he was quite happy. Here is the conclusion to this video that I filmed a little bit earlier in the day. Hope you've enjoyed Mdina with us. And we are back exactly where we started, at the main gate. I hope you enjoyed spending the day with us in Mdina, otherwise known as the Silent City. See you all in the next one, where we have a lot more to come here in Malta. Bye!